I'm talking about knife crime. Knife crime. Do you agree with knife crime? Many young people and adults and elderly people have lost their lives over knife crime because people think it's acceptable to run around with knives, blades, thinking that they can just take people's lives without giving a care in the world of what they might have gone through in their life. A little example of a story. Two elderly people and two children were recently murdered up country somewhere, where two robbers were in the house and they beat them to death with hammers and stabbed them as well, stabbed the kids with knives. My final question is, do you agree with knife crime?
I think there were 4 people killed over the weekend from knife crime in London in separate incidents. Why do you think it's got so bad these days?
I think it's got so bad in these days because people have been, people have seen it happen on the news, and then people have been taking over the role of, oh, I'm going to do this and that, and they've been going out and they've been thinking, oh, look, they got caught, I'm going to get away with it, and they think they're not going to get away with it, but they actually aren't.
There was a story about drug sort of gang leaders paying young people a bounty to go and stab somebody for them because they obviously haven't got a criminal record. Do you think that goes on everywhere or just in maybe London?
I think it goes on most places because if you think, alright, it's for drugs, they want them to be put in prison because they don't want to be put in prison. You think, oh, we'll just go and get this random person from out on the street and we'll just go and get them to stab somebody for no apparent reason. They've done nothing wrong. They've not had any issues with anything. But of course they're using drugs because they obviously don't want to get caught with the use of drugs. They don't want to have a criminal record against them.
Good. And why do you think young people particularly feel they have to carry a weapon, like in school? Why do you think young people feel like they need to be weaponised?
Because they might have seen the news and they might have thought, oh, there's been children that's been killed, or there's elderly people. I never know, I could walk home from school today and be stabbed, but I've got the weapon to defend myself from anything. So if anything does happen to me or somebody else, I know that I can protect myself from them. And it's also like to do with gangs and that, because if they're going to be approached by a gang, obviously then you're going to need like a weapon, so you can, that they think you're threatening them for no reason. Like, oh, he's got a knife, like, let's go. They don't think that. They think, little kid, let's take him and do horrible things and make him suffer. They don't think about the consequences as well that's going to happen to them.
Do you think society's got more violent and maybe sort of young people today are just scared?
Yeah, I can also relate to like moped. In London there's moped thieves. I can also relate to them because it's sort of like the knife crime, because they steal the vehicles with knives. They threaten the owner of the vehicle with a knife, so they give up automatically and they just take the bite. If you think about it, what the consequences are, they're just going to ring the police and you're just going to get caught. People don't, they need to think what's going to happen to them, because you never know, you could spend 3 years in prison or the rest of your life, you don't know. And I think it's become more violent because it's spreading now down here, as there was 3 people murdered in Exeter in under 3 hours. And I think some of the children that carry the weapons, they feel scared that something's going to happen to them and nobody else.
Good. Okay, well done.